Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sounds on the Couch. I'm so excited to introduce our next guest. She's super inspiring, and I look forward to being able to share a little bit about what she's got to offer. Having recently released her EP, Go Figure, Anna Leeworthy is here to share with us all about what lies behind her music and what it is that makes this inspiring artist. Influenced by alternative pop and R&B, this singer-songwriter uses her own experiences to impact her music. Every song written has a personal backstory, told by her soulful and passionate vocals. And originating from New South Wales, Anna's journey began as a small town musician that led her to win awards for her writing, landing her a publishing deal for her single Son of Korah, and supporting acts such as Samantha Jade for local events. Anna now finds herself in Melbourne pursuing writing for all genres, which is where she decided to release her own tracks and share her journey as she fine-tunes her sound. I know that you are super excited to get her up here so that we can start getting into the interview. So I won't keep you any longer. I'll bring her up now. Hello, Anna.
Hi, how you going?
Good, thank you. It's so good to have you here with us. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's such a great thing that you've been doing with like all the other artists, and I've loved tuning in and just learning about some new people and new faces. It's great.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's amazing what you've been doing too. So that's what we're here to talk about.
Oh,
So let's just jump straight in. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your background and where you've come from?
yeah. So I grew up in Albury-Wodonga. So that is regional New South Wales and Victoria. So it's on the border. Just sort of grew up there. Mum and dad were from there. Grew up in church singing a lot. Just always sort of surrounded by music. My mum's a singer and things like that. So a pretty like modest upbringing, I would say. Just normal kid running around outside kind of scenario. But I think that's just a bit about my background, I guess, where my love for music really came from, I guess, my mum and growing up around it.
Yeah, fantastic. And do you think that church had a big impact on that love for music as well?
Yeah, oh, definitely, for sure. My parents are actually pastors, so we were there, 8 a.m. till whatever time, setting up all the music gear, in the days when we didn't have our own building. So there was pack up and pack down and just always around the hustle and bustle of music cases and things like that. So I loved it. I really loved it.
And what do you enjoy now most about being a musician?
I think for me, it's even less just about being a musician as itself, but as being a creative person. It's just like such an outlet in every area. So I obviously love music, and that's I guess, where my natural talent comes from. But being creative in any area it gives me life, like it's something that makes me feel alive. It's not just something that I do because, I'm good at it or whatever. It's something where I can be in the studio and just be like working on a song, and then 5 hours have passed and I haven't even noticed. It's that sort of, it's hard to put into words, but I think once you find something that you love doing, you get it, you understand.
Do you have any other creative outlets that you enjoy doing?
Yeah, I studied interior design, so I guess there's that whole design side to me as well. I love sewing. I love pretty much if anything creative, I've tried my hand at it.
Yeah.
Whether I'm good at it or not is another question. I'm no good at dance, but still love it. Still give it a crack. All those sort of mediums, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to see some of your sewing designs too at some stage. It sounds really interesting. Yeah.
It's just like pillows and things like that. Like it's not anything for me. I love op shopping, I will say that. So sometimes it's just like taking this in or taking this up, making it actually fit properly. I don't know. I'm not particularly good, but I can sew a straight line.
If you enjoy it, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, who have been to date? Who have been your biggest inspirations when it's come to your music?
Mhm. This is a hard one for me because I have
Yeah.
such an eclectic taste in music. Like, there's not many genres that I don't like. And I tend to pick out songs over, a particular artist or anything like that. But a few people that I love and that I draw from, Vera Blue and Celia Pavey, just her melodies are just everything. They're so creative and different to me. I love them. I love Dua Lipa as well, and just how she's emerging into the pop scene. But yeah, I mean, as I've mentioned, I've been in the church world and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of Christian artists that just have such soulful voices, like Jen Johnson. I just love, she just has this huge voice. So I think, yeah, I think I definitely take little parts of what I love about all those different people and try and make it my own, I guess.
Yeah, I guess with so many different influences, what was it that made you go into that sort of pop kind of genre?
Mm. I think, I mean, as you so nicely and kindly said at the start, I'm still really trying to fine tune, who I am as an artist. But I think it's what I love listening to most. So it's like pop R&B, like that's what you'll see on my Spotify through and through. I know I have an eclectic taste in music and I definitely love lots of different sounds, but that's, if I don't know what to play, that's what I automatically go to. So I think, yeah, you typically write what you like to listen to. So I think that's where it comes from, really.
Fantastic. And so if you could do if you could open a show for any artist, who would you open for?
I think it would be like someone like Adele or some like powerhouse voice, just because it's like for her. I mean, for me, my interpretation of her is it's all about her voice. Like she just has these beautiful melodies and her songs. And I can just imagine the stadiums just filled. Like it'd just be a very cool thing to experience firsthand. Yeah. So that would probably, I mean, look, I'd probably change my mind. Give me a bit more time to think about it, and there'll be lots and lots of people
By the end of the
automatically.
interview, we'll have a whole list going.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
you've just released your EP, Go Figure. Are you able to tell us a little bit what inspired you to put this music out into the world?
I'd love to say it's like this big long thing I've been working on for years and years, but
Yeah.
I've written songs all my life, and I mean, even just a few years back, I was putting too much pressure on myself to release them, to do it a proper way, and things like that. And I think it was literally a few months ago. I'm like, Anna, like, if you don't release this, because I had recorded tracks like years ago that I just hadn't put out. And I sort of had this sort of like, Anna, if you don't put your stuff out now, like you never will. You know what I mean? Like you've got stuff there ready to go. I don't know what you're waiting for. You've sort of got nothing to lose. So that's when I released my single Say So, which was before Go Figure. And then I sort of had like some great feedback from that. They're like, wow, I didn't really even know that you did this. And so Go Figure came out of like, well, I have all these other songs. Like I should just keep putting them out there because I love it and people actually are hearing it and, telling me that they like it or whatever. So, yeah. So what was the question? What inspired me? So I guess what inspired me was just the fact that I've got nothing to lose and I should just go for it. Like, what am I waiting for kind of thing.
So has that changed your view now for when you're releasing future music? Like, has that sort of changed your attitude and outlook on it for when you do want to release more music?
100%. I mean, like I'm working on a few tracks now and just sort of, I mean, there's that constant battle with like, everything you put out, you want it to be better than the last and you want to learn, of course. But it's still funny. You still sort of battle with the idea of it has to be a certain way, or it has to be done a certain way. You have to go through different, I don't know, whatever. So as I'm learning, I'm definitely trying to get better and learn more. Ideally where I want to be is being able to produce my own stuff completely from start to finish. And so I'm just learning more about that as well, but also still trying to take a step back and be like, it's okay to figure it out and just release it as you feel, I don't know if that's totally correct, but that's my point of view on it for right now.
I don't think that there's one answer to any of that. What works for you? So you've spoken a little bit about what Go Figure means to you in general. So what about if you delve into a little bit about the tracks themselves? What do the tracks mean to you individually? Or what's behind it?
Yes. So every single song I write is directly linked to either a story in my life or like some sort of funny little, it mightn't even be big, but it's always linked to me. So, going through track by track, the first track was Fight. So that was written in lockdown, COVID times. My sister, my husband and I, we all lived together. So I wrote it. It was one of those quick little songs that I wrote in about 30 minutes after my sister and I had an argument. So I couldn't even tell you what the argument was about, but basically it's funny now that song is now an icebreaker for her and I. Whenever we start getting a bit heated, we just sort of sing that song to each other and it's like how we lighten the mood again. So, hey, it has a positive benefit in that way. And then Go Figure was written in in Dan's family home in Albury. So once again, throughout this lockdown period, but drawing on the fact that when we used to sort of hang out and we're dating or whatever, look, I don't want to get too deep into the story, but basically we were hanging out and I thought we were exclusive, and he sort of took out this other girl to make me jealous, and it was all like innocent and fun. And then, yes, basically Go Figure is written about me saying, like, what are we? What's happening here? Like, well, just stop it. Like, what's happening? You know what I mean? So, and it was sort of the theme of the whole album in terms of, like, go figure. Like, you put something out there and it goes all right or whatever. It's just sort of, I don't know, it's sort of my life motto. I just sort of a bit airy-fairy.
Yeah. No, but that's great. I think that so many people can relate to that as well.
Who have you got next to you? I saw a little tail.
Oh yeah, sorry, I've got a dog. My dog Mojo. She likes to join me for the interviews as well.
I love that.
So with the culmination of these tracks, is there a message that you're wanting to put out into the world by sharing this?
Yeah, go for it. I said this to you when we were doing that written blog post. It's just like you've got nothing to lose. Like it makes me, I get so passionate about it because I just think of like all the songs and all the creative things that we're not seeing or hearing because of fear, and like people are holding back because they think it's not good enough or no, it's not quite perfect yet. But realistically, I think every artist, if you get in, 5-10 years into your journey, you're going to look back on your old stuff and think, oh, there was a few things I would have changed about that anyway. So why not just put it out there, like release it into the world and keep moving forward and keep getting better and start that process now? Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Or am I just rambling?
No, not at all. I think it's a message so many people need to hear a lot more of. Perfection is something that I definitely see a lot in my world. So, yeah, it's definitely something that does stop a lot of people. If we delve into your creative process a little bit more, what does your creative process, when you're looking to create a song, what does that look like? Where do you start?
I think it just starts with some sort of inspiration. So just keeping inspired. I love fresh stuff. So sometimes, I've talked about how I've released a lot of songs that I wrote many years ago, but it's so funny that if I start writing a song and I don't finish it, I've moved on. I like something. I want to get started on something new. So yeah, the creative process for me is just getting inspired, finding some sort of little melody
Yeah.
that I want to sort of expand on, whether it's in the track or vocally, and then yeah, just sort of start from there. I don't really have this ABC process. I've
Yeah.
sort of just, because I am, that's the beauty of doing it, sort of by yourself. You sort of just can get in these little moments and get inspired and immersed in what you're creating.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So when you've gone through that process and then you've gone to release your music, has there been anyone else involved in that process that you've taken?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said, the goal for me is to be able to do it all myself, but I can't right now. And so, but that's the great thing about the age that we're living in. Like, there's platforms you can go to where you hire a freelancer to mix and master your music, and you can hire someone to collaborate on a beat with, and things like that. So that's been a fun learning curve for me too, because collaboration can be such a positive thing. And it's also something that used to hold me back, thinking like, oh, I can't do this, can't do this. But find someone who can. Like, seriously, there's so many talented people. And the tracks would not be what they are now if I didn't reach out to other people to help me. So yeah, there's definitely, I mean, I didn't do many of the instrumentals or beats myself. A producer, a few different producers helped me with those. I had another guy, he's in Brazil, he's not even here, that mixed and mastered it for me. And so, yeah, lots of collaboration, really.
So what was it that changed that mindset? I mean, you said that you had a bit of fear going into the whole collaboration process. What made you decide to do it in the first place?
I think when I started hearing other people's, I guess my nerves were that they weren't going to hear what I was going to hear, and that we weren't going to be on the same page. And I guess there was fear, being really honest, of like the control being taken out of my hands. Like, this was the thing that I wanted to create, and I wanted it to be this way and portray this message. And I was nervous that bringing someone else into that would, take that away from my control, which is so, it's just how I felt. And but once I started hearing what these producers were doing, what they could do, I'm like, wow, like they know what they're doing, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry. So yeah, and like, it's my favorite part of what I've learned throughout this process, is how to collaborate with people, and because it actually can come together a lot quicker working with someone else than working with just yourself as well. So if you find the right people and get the right people around you, it's really amazing.
No, thank you for sharing that. That's fantastic. So what about with challenges that you've experienced along the journey? Where have the biggest challenges been for you?
With releasing Go Figure.
Yeah, with releasing Go Figure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, the flip side of that coin is sometimes when you're working via correspondence, that they might send something back to you and you're like, oh, it's not quite right. It's not quite this. So that's a challenge, because you kind of, I guess, get your hopes up. Like, you finally meet someone and they're like, yes, they get it. But, they're not always going to understand what's happening in my brain. So, but, it's super easy just to be like, oh, love this, but can we change this? That's also a learning curve to try and communicate what you're trying to say. So yeah, that's a challenge, but it's not a roadblock, it's just something that you work around.
Fantastic. And through that releasing process, is there anything that you would change next time?
I think my personality is like, yep, let's do it yesterday. Like, let's do it right now. Even sometimes in my job, like they ask me to do something and I do it 5 minutes and then like, oh, can you add this? I'm like, damn it. I should have just waited a little longer and sat on it, see if I could tweak a few things here and there. So I think that is what I'm trying to learn, is just to be like, okay, don't just get it out there just to get it over with. Like actually sit on it, go through it, fine tune it a bit, be a bit more of a perfectionist in that area. Yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm just like, yeah, let's just get new stuff out there. Let's just pump it out there. But, sometimes, you want to perfect it.
That line, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So during this process all came out during COVID. How has the COVID situation affected you in terms of your release?
I mean, honestly, I probably have a different point of view to a lot of people because they may have been playing live and things like that. But for me, I wasn't really playing live. I was just writing at home. So I'm not sure if I would have released it if this whole COVID thing didn't happen, if I wasn't at home writing and stuff like that. So I know that's a totally different story for a lot of people, and I totally appreciate that and feel for them in that sense. But for me, I think it's really what actually pushed me to do something.
Oh, that's great. And I think I've heard a lot of stories like that. It's very interesting how COVID has positively affected a lot of people as well as the negatives that have come with it.
Yeah.
So if everything aligned for you, where would you ultimately like to get to with your career in music?
Such a big question.
Yeah.
I think I'm still discovering what I love about what I'm doing. And I know that I love writing and I know that I love singing. So I think, if all the stars aligned, I'd still just be doing that. As I mentioned before, I want to learn the production side. I want to know how to mix and master and produce vocals and do all this fun stuff. So for me, my career, I don't know. I think I might like to be a writer or like work with a producer and help other artists write their stuff. And I don't know, I'm still figuring it out, but I think that's where my passion is.
Yeah, beautiful. So do you have any plans lined up for any future releases?
Yeah, well, I'm working on a couple of things at the moment.
Okay.
I wanted to be bringing something out in October, just to sort of keep the momentum going. I'm not sure if it's going to be October. The beauty of doing it by yourself is you can just release it whenever it's ready. So, I'm working on a couple of things at the moment, definitely before the end of the year.
Yeah. And I've got another question about, with you doing it yourself, where did you develop those skills to really be able to master a recording?
Yeah, look, it is trial and error. I don't know many skills per se, but look, YouTube is an amazing platform.
Yeah.
I'm convinced you can learn how to do anything on YouTube. I'm sure a builder would disagree with me, but like if there's things I'm like, oh, I want to know how to do this, I just type it into YouTube, figure it out from there. I did, when I was in Albury, I had a connection with an artist who was quite successful, and she sort of helped me in terms of, what certain things meant, what PR meant, maybe what you should encompass with the release, because she'd had, she was with a label and things like that. So I've actually drawn a lot from my notes from speaking with her from like 3 years ago now, which has been helpful. But yeah, the biggest thing is YouTube.
Yeah, the internet has changed the world, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And just trusting your ears as well. Like if something doesn't sound quite off, I'm like, okay, what? Trying to pinpoint,
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's great. So from all this experience, I know that you have shared some advice already in regards to perfectionism and advice to just taking a step. But is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience or share with aspiring musicians?
Yeah. For me, it's just like don't get I mean, it's the same sort of thing I've been pushing this whole time. But I guess I just want to encourage people just to not get bogged down in like, you know, putting pressure on yourself, feeling like it needs to be a certain way. You need to do something a certain way. Even like you have to perform live to be able to release something. Because like that was even something for me. Like I didn't really love performing in front of people, you know, even though I'm quite dramatic. It's a bit of an oxymoron, but you know, figure out how you want to do it and go for it, you know. And I'll be your biggest fan. Hit me up and I'll come to all the things and stream your music. So yeah, it's just I guess believe in yourself and trust what you do.
Oh, great. And so if anybody would like a new fan, then definitely reach out to Anna Leeworthy. So where can they find you, Anna?
Yeah. Instagram. Slide in my DMs, be like, look, I've got this new song. I will for sure.
Excellent. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we finish up?
No, just thank you so much for having me. Thank you for what you've been doing throughout this whole COVID season as well, like giving people like me and other artists a chance to explain a bit more about what they're doing. And yeah, thank you, really.
Oh, no, excellent. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been amazing.
Pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.